My introduction into kind of the action sports world, skateboarding and skiing, was very young. Just as a kid, being able to ride my skateboard down the driveway and hit a ramp with a couple of bricks and a piece of wood was like thrilling. In 2003, I was skiing in Colorado and I blew out my knee and had to move back to Minnesota from Colorado. I was, lived out there as a ski bum. And my first major knee surgery was completely debilitating. I ended up having to move in with my mom. I was living in her basement, and I picked up my first board and I painted that white, and I grabbed a Sharpie and drew the Minneapolis skyline with that. And from there, I started drawing more and more boards and working with a local skate shop, and it turned into drawing hundreds. So this board is my very first skateboard from my injury when I was first initially laid up, and after surgery, this was the first board I drew. It started it all. That led to this one, which is a little more refined version, very similar. Again, it's just all black, ultrafine. This is the one that's gone very commercial. It's probably the most well-known of my artwork. I have actually probably 5 or 6 different versions of the Minneapolis skyline on a skateboard because I realized the first one wasn't exceptionally good. So I kept redrawing that until I kind of had it figured out. And then the ideas just kind of came from looking at skateboard companies and not necessarily looking at the team riders, but who were the artists and what were the graphics. It was just a flood of ideas. I was drawing with all kinds of different mediums, but after trial and error, you start to realize that the marker, the Sharpie, that's the one that worked the best. And the ink was manipulated in ways that you could kind of work it almost like a paintbrush, but it stayed on the board was the most important part. So it was kind of necessity that was the marker I stuck with and continued to work with. In 2007, Sharpie emailed me and said, we'd love to have a feature of you on our blog. And I started peppering Sharpie with ideas about how they could use artists as endorsed athletes in a sense. And then they started sending me a couple pens here and there. Will you test this product out for us? Will you see what this one does? And I would give them feedback on the markers. And I learned a lot over the years about how to manipulate the pens and really work with them artistically. Then in 2009, they started the Sharpie Squad, and it was a handful of artists kind of worldwide that were sort of endorsed in a way. And then in 2011, I was asked to be part of the Starts with Sharpie ad campaign. The campaign was launched in the New York Times, so it was a big deal. It kind of went from 0 to 60 in terms of an art career. The Sharpies, Mount Sharpie, as it's been dubbed. When I was endorsed by Sharpie and I started doing the educational work, they were pretty thrilled with what that was doing and just how it was, just how positive that type of thing was. And I think they really appreciated the direction I went after the ad campaign. Because of that campaign, I was suddenly had a ton of exposure. From that, I was able to get myself into all kinds of different scenarios. For educational purposes, we've got twin tips. During my year with them, the big limited edition thing was the 80s Glam colorway. Got metallics, of course, the most important pen, the Sharpie Ultrafine. These are the detail makers. These ones the kids absolutely love because they're like big paintbrushes. I was getting asked to go into schools and come talk to kids, and I started working with the teacher in Woodbury, and we kind of created this curriculum, and I was teaching skateboard art at that point. All right, you guys, so my name is Mark Rivard. I am a professional artist. I started off designing skateboards. My first piece of artwork was an illustration on a skateboard. I work with students all over of many different organizations, and what I do is bring blank skateboards and Sharpies to kids and have them create artwork. What do you guys think it means to be inspired? What is it? What is inspiration? What does that even mean? We talk a lot about opportunity. We talk about what the idea of being inspired is, how certain inspirations can turn into a career. It's that emotion that gets you to want to do something. It's the thing that makes you want to go skateboarding, you know? I really am inspired by this art. This art thing is interesting to me. This is something I could do and pursue and have maybe have a chance at, you know? Over time, it developed into a lot more structured curriculum style programming. Because of the curriculum we had developed, it was working, and it's been incredibly successful. Now I've been all over the country, all over the world, and the kids are really excited about what they're gonna create. When they walk out of the room with a skateboard under their arm, they feel very empowered. And that's kind of been the basis for why the programs and Rivard Art Education in general has experienced the success it's had. In this board, I think for cohesiveness, you probably want that figure.
Right there and then...
Yep, right towards the middle there.
Yeah.
There's nothing I could have done that would be more important for me personally than Rivard Art Education. I mean, that was what transformed my whole purpose for creating art. My own personal practice as an artist is always evolving. My fine art started in illustrations on skateboard, and then it kind of went into a little bit of painting. I started to kind of play around a little bit with canvases, and then I got my first nice camera, and I started loving to shoot photos, and I wanted to kind of incorporate different mediums, so I do a lot of mixed media stuff. Then I started getting into oils. I started painting oils about 1.5 years ago, and that's really kind of dominated a lot of my practice recently. The next show will be a really painting heavy, very abstract, a lot of layers and texture. From a fine art perspective, for me, it's changed so much. I get ideas in my head, and then I kind of roll with that for a while, and I'll create a series based on that. It's fun for me to continue to see where it goes and how it develops.